If you have any questions, you don't have to wait to the end. You can just shout them out at any time. Are you all divided up into Methodists and Presbyterians or Democrats or Republicans? How'd that work? Okay. Let me give you a little bit of history of the Moody Foundation so you know where they're coming from and where we're coming from. How many of y'all are familiar with the Moody Foundation? Okay, you know that it was started by the Moody's back before the Civil War. They were into cotton and life insurance. And what they would do is they would buy cotton from the farmers and reduce the amount they paid by how much moisture content they figured was in each bale. Then they would let those bales sit out on the docks or the railroad station for weeks, soaking up more moisture, so they would weigh a lot more and then charge them that full amount. And then the Texas legislature made a law that only companies based in Texas could spend their profits in Texas. So every insurance company that wasn't based in Texas packed up and left. And that left American National Indemnity Company, which was a Moody company, in Texas holding most of the insurance bags. And they had to spend their profits in Texas. And in order to do that, they set up the foundation, the Moody Foundation, and that's where we get our funds from, is from the Moody Foundation. Presently, the Moody Foundation is run by, you might consider the great-great-great-grandkids of, and the children of Robert L. Moody, Francie, Ross, and Russell Moody. And there's always, and every family has the black sheep, and in this family it's Bobby Jr. Bobby Jr. is suing his brothers and sisters for part control of the foundation. So it's one big happy family in Galveston. But it doesn't really affect us on our level. They will, Francie will come out, pick the color she wants the whole hotel to be. Bobby may come out and request us to grow certain palm trees so he can get the seeds. So things like that happen, but usually they're not too much involved with what goes on with Moody Gardens. Moody Gardens proper started in 1986, January 1986, as Hope Arena. Now, as we go through these slides, please believe me, I love Moody Gardens. It's my life. My wife will tell you it's too much of my life. Been working there since July of 1986. So I'm going to point out some things in some slides and verbiage that aren't quite right, so don't think that I don't like Moody Gardens. I'm just pointing them out because I think it's interesting. If you have any questions, again, just yell them out and I'll try to answer them. Now, what you're going to ask me, which I'm not going to know the answers to, are what are the names of all the plants? Now, if it's something big and I planted it, I know it. If it's something small and pretty, Donita probably planted it. I don't know it, she knows it. So don't get upset with me. This is our mission statement, and we try to hold true to that, which most people don't realize that we're nonprofit, that the profits we do make are for education and for therapy. And we try real hard to do that within Moody Gardens and outreach programs, and we're very good at that, and we get awards for doing that, and we're very proud of that fact. This is exactly what Moody Gardens look like, except this slide is flipped. It should be the other way. Don't hold that against the person that did it. But when I came to apply at Moody Gardens, that's what it looked like, a desert. And you can see, if I can do that right there is Hope Arena. That's all that was there when I came to apply, was that building right there. That's where they had the horses. And they had the horses for the hippotherapy program. Who knows what hippo means?
Horse.
What kind of horse? Water horse, exactly. So our hippotherapy program was a horse therapy program. We had a riding arena, which was Hope Therapy. The main portion was right there in the middle is the arena itself, and this end was the cool down or warm up end, and this was the cool down area. This is where we played volleyball, but that's neither here nor there. So that was what was here, and out in the bowl that we called it back then was the big horse arena with a wooden fence and roses on each other post, and that was about it. And that's our glamour side of Moody Gardens. That's what we like everybody to think that Moody Gardens looks like, with the blue water out in front and the colored pyramids and the peach-colored hotel. Nothing more beautiful. And then our happy kids with our parent therapy program, Schlitterbahn, Moody Gardens, the beach. When they first started doing this survey in the last 10 years, we ranked at number 2. Now there's some other parks that have come close to us, so we fluctuate in between 5 and 2. So we're right up there at the top in Texas attractions. 2 million visitors a year. Oh, do y'all know what the title of this program is? How do we do it with 1,100 employees? Actually, we only have 800. The other 300 are volunteers. We've done continuous enhancements. Moody Gardens got to the age where it was time to stop adding new things and start fixing the old things. So a lot of the enhancements have come in under the guise of making what we already had better, which has been very warmly received by the public. A lot of y'all come, a lot of people even in Houston, Galveston area will come up and tell me they haven't been to Moody Gardens in a while. And I always tell them, come see us again. It's changed a lot of new things to see. Can I skip this line? Yes. Now see, what is that plant right there? I have no idea. I need to plant at that, but isn't it pretty? That pretty much tells you what I already told you. Yeah. Now, this description of the paddle boat, what does that word right there say? Colonel. Do you know how many people call that the Colonial? All day long, every day, people come up to me and say, can I buy tickets on the Colonial? And instead of correcting them, I just say, yes, you can buy tickets on the Colonial. And they call it an authentic replica. What does that tell you? It's just like the real thing. It's just remade. Well, a real steamboat paddle wheeler, the steam turns the paddle, not an electric engine. So it's not an authentic replica. It's a replica with an electric paddle wheel that does nothing but cause drag on the end of the boat. It's an old barge with steam engines on it. But we all like the Colonel, and we would never make fun of it. Whoop, I went too fast again today. This is Derek Wells. He still works for us in the gardens department. He's famous worldwide because his picture is almost in every slide presentation there is. He's got the brains. He's a smart guy. He has a little bit problem with his speech, and physically he shakes a little bit when he tries to do some work. But he's a great guy. You can carry on a conversation with him, talk to him about anything. He's always got a good disposition. Do anything you ask him to do. He even supervises other people with head injuries in the greenhouse when they come to visit. So Derek is a wonderful asset to Moody Gardens. We used to have a lot more. I'm going to backtrack a little bit on that one. We used to have TLC, the Transitional Learning Center, which was all head injured employees, would come, several of them, up to 10 at a time, would come out to Moody Gardens. And the only thing we had them to do back then, before we had the greenhouses, was pull weeds. And we had one poor guy who wanted to do it, laying on the ground, pulling weeds. He was so determined to do it. Well, he got into an ant bed, and he got bit up by ants. And his brother was so mad at me, it was like to wring my neck. And it was like, I'm sorry, I feel bad too. But your brother wanted to do it, and we didn't know there were ants there, and we'll never do it again. And since that time, we haven't. We haven't had the head-injured folks out on the grounds. They only work in the greenhouses where it's nice and safe and controlled, and they like it. We have them come out one day a week on Tuesdays. It's gone from about 10 a day, 10 on Tuesday, to about 3. So it's a program that we'd like to expand. Other departments, education, especially education, has a lot of the therapy people working or with them, learning how to adapt to events and activities that we have at Moody Gardens. This is the celebration frog. This is the Special People's Ball, where we invite people with special needs from all over Houston, Galveston area to come and have this Mardi Gras ball. And they have the greatest time. The Knights of Columbus cooks hot dogs. They give them beads and costumes and do a face painting. And those folks have the most glorious time. You can't imagine how happy they are. Makes us feel good, makes them feel good, and it's good for the community. This is adaptive therapy. These are, again, people with physical and mental challenges that are learning how to do water sports. Whoop, I'll do that again. There they are, out on the water, in the specially adapted water ski. And then this is another one of those slides that isn't quite right. It says 1986. I guarantee you the convention center did not look like that in 1986. All we had was Hope Arena, and it was nowhere close to looking like that. That's what the convention center looked like in 1990. But we won't hold that against them. And back then it was called Hope Arena, but that's not Hope Arena. That's the convention center. Palm Beach, that one's hard to tell because that just shows blue chairs in the water. I'm guessing that one's about as close as you're going to get to being correct. Palm Beach is good. If y'all have been to Palm Beach maybe 10 years ago, it's completely different now. Totally different. Nothing the same. All different, all new, all better. The Learning Place. Back in 1988, it wasn't called The Learning Place. It was called Seaside Safari, which had a lot of different animals. And it was great for birthday parties. So they had dwarf donkeys and pigs and sheep. And you have a birthday party there, they bring all the animals out and tell you about the animals. And kids would have great fun. And they had a huge outreach program where they take the animals to different schools. And the kids at the schools would learn about the animals. But it was called Seaside Safari. Now it's the Learning Place. The production area, I know what that is. That's an orchid. But anything, unless I planted it. Production area is our area where we actually have 3 greenhouses, not 2. We have 2 that are 1 story tall, and the second one is 2 stories tall to hold the really big plants that we got for the Rainforest Pyramid when they came in. When we were planning the Rainforest Pyramid, way back, many years before we even started working on it, we envisioned we would go to South America and to Africa and to Asia with big, huge barges to get these huge trees that came from those continents. Well, you don't have to do that. Every single one of those things you can get in South Florida. We didn't have to travel that far. We just went down to Homestead before it got blown away by Hurricane Andrew, picked out what we needed, and they shipped it to Galveston. Now, some of the stuff was so big that the root ball on it was 40 feet wide, and it was over 40 feet long, and it had to have a special permit, and it could only drive during the day. That part's true. But shipping it on a barge from Africa, Asia, and the Americas didn't happen. The Rainforest Pyramid at night. Now, right now we have the Rainforest Pyramid, which is this one, clear with white trim. The aquarium is blue, and the Discovery Museum is pink. Now, if a guest asks you, where is the Einstein exhibit? Are you going to tell them in the Discovery Pyramid? They're not going to have a clue what that means. You're going to say in the pink pyramid, or they want to know where the sharks are. They're in the blue pyramid. Where's the amorphous salus? It's in the clear pyramid, or the white one. So we use colors, we don't use names. It's too confusing. And we used to call where the Rainforest Pyramid is for years, Phase 3. Now, what does that mean to the guest? Absolutely nothing. So I told him, you need to call it the Visitor Center. That's what it's called. So you know what the staff calls it now? VC. Nobody learns. Nobody learns. The guests don't know what VC means either. That's inside the Rainforest Pyramid. That's a fairly new picture Not new now, but new when it was first built, because there's roots that are all hanging down from those ficus trees across that waterfall down into the water. They had to trim them back to do the second phase mock-up when they were creating the overhead canopy walk. There's two macaws duking it out. You want to talk about noisy birds, these guys, they'll keep you awake at night. But there's two pairs for each one of those that you see. There's another pair in the background, so they can bring it out and give the pair that are out on display a rest to go back and make noise someplace else. This is IMAX 3D theater. When we first opened, we were the only IMAX 3D theater in this part of the world. Well, now there's lots of them, so we don't call it the IMAX 3D anymore. We call it the Moody Gardens Big Theater. There's our authentic replica of the colonial paddle wheeler again. And what color is that pyramid? Pink. Pink. Well, it's really pink. What's its real name? It says it right there in the Discovery Museum. Is anybody going to know what that? No, nobody knows what I mean. But we have some really nice exhibits there. Downstairs is the interactive ride, and upstairs is the exhibit itself. We used to have an interactive ride below. The upgrade included SpongeBob SquarePants. How many of y'all have seen SpongeBob? How many of y'all have grandkids? Yeah, well, I've never seen it, and I don't have either one. You would not. I mean, there's people that know what even our boss, John Zent, had to learn what all the different names of all the characters were, but I don't know what they are. Okay, Moody Gardens Hotel and Spa. That's correct. It's very popular. If there was, and I'm kind of confused on this, do hotels have a 5-star rating? I don't think so, not yet. But if they did, ours would have a 5-star rating because we have a golf course associated with it. And that's what that 5th star would tell you, is that it has a golf course associated with it. Moody Gardens, despite Fertittia's wishes, obtained the city's golf course, and we re-landscaped it and redid all the holes. As a matter of fact, we re-landscaped it 3 times. Once before Ike, once after Ike, and once after the freeze. By the time the 3rd time we landscaped it, we didn't have any plants left. And they asked me for more, and I said, there are no more. We used everything we had the last 2 times we landscaped it. Aquarium Pyramid, that's the what colored one? Blue, yes. Now that, between the aquarium, the blue building, the aquarium, and the rainforest, those are the 2 most popular exhibits we have at Moody Gardens. Everybody wants to see the aquarium, and everybody wants to see the rainforest. In the aquarium, we have the penguins. We've got the penguins, which I didn't know. This is very interesting. I thought, you mean we're going down to South America, Antarctica, and we're going to collect up penguins? Isn't that kind of cruel and unusual? Well, Mother Nature, in her own wisdom, has the penguins lay 3 sets of eggs every year. The 3rd set of eggs they lay, well, none of them will survive because it's right before winter starts, and they all freeze to death. So people are allowed to go down there when they lay that 3rd set of eggs, collect up those eggs, and bring them back to raise as full-size penguins. So that's what we do. And then the different entities that have penguins trade with other entities to get different kinds of penguins. So that's how all that works. So we're not cheating Mother Nature, we're helping Mother Nature. There's the emperor penguins. Those are the most popular. They're also the most smelly, but don't tell anybody. You only know that if you go behind the scenes. And the sharks. Do the sharks eat the fish in the Caribbean exhibit? No, because we feed them more than they need to be fed, and they're not hungry anymore. There's the hotel again. That right section, over there, which has 300 and something rooms. I personally went through every single room and put little circles on the wall where every nick was. You think that was fun? Whew. Not. Okay, there's a banquet. My family has had a banquet there. It was fantastic. The staff is great. The facilities are great. Everything's great. That's one of the ballrooms in the hotel. That's the arena as it is now. Don't see any horses in there or people playing volleyball anymore. It's too nice. And this is the 4D theater. How many of y'all know what 4D is? That's where you get all the senses, where the seats shake and water spurts you in the face and air blows. So you feel like you're actually there. And that's the golf course, which we landscaped how many times? 3 times, yes. It was also award winning. It always figured it as number 1 or 2 as far as municipal golf courses in Texas went. So that was a very nice kudo we had, or have. And this talks about putting the canopy in the rainforest. Now, of course, we're gardeners. We don't know anything about engineering. But we told those guys, you put a canopy walk in that rainforest pyramid, it's going to be hot up there. They said, no, 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 no. You don't know what you're talking about. We're going to have enough air conditioner in there. It's going to be cold. We said, no, it's going to be hot. It was hot. So they had to add air conditioning. One of our friendly monkeys, we allow assistant aid dogs into the rainforest pyramid, but they have to have one of the curatorial staff walk with them, just in case one of these guys decides he doesn't want a dog in his territory. So it's more to protect the dog than it is to protect the monkey. The otters, they have a electrified wire fence all the way around their enclosure. It's not to keep them in, it's to keep the other critters out. Because if the other critter gets in there, a possum, raccoon, or any other critter, they're toast, literally, either way. Those are cotton top tamarins, I know that. That's not a plant. There's the river at Palm Beach. That's about my speed. The slides, the wave pool. We also landscaped that twice. We've landscaped everything at least twice. The hotel was complete, every single room was completely refurbished to update it to 2018 request. There's the climbing tower. That's real popular too. It even has a little tower for little bitty guys. They have the rope where they go up and down and they're sliding the rope along with them. And this is the taller one for the big kids, where you're going all the way up to the top, sliding your rope and cable up to the grooves in the steel beams to get all the way up to the top with full harness on and everything else. Then there's a zip line up at the very top where you can zip over the top of Palm Beach and to the other tower. And it takes you maybe, 15, 20 seconds. My son and his fiancée went to Costa Rica. That one takes like 2 hours and 45 minutes. So ours isn't quite the same, but ours is nice. Now, see, that's what it's called now. The Moody Gardens 3D Theater Upgrade. It's not called the IMAX. How many of y'all think that we don't call it the IMAX anymore? Everybody still calls it the IMAX. We'll never lose that term. But it is the Moody Gardens 3D Theater, which is a good thing because we can show other 3D movies and we can show regular kind of movies in 2D that we couldn't show before. Iceland. How many of y'all have been to Iceland? That's the exhibit we have at Christmas time. This is the most popular thing we have. That's what Moody Gardens looks like at Christmas time. These are sculptures carved by Chinese sculptors that come from China, who don't speak English, who cook their own Chinese food, which if you want to pay extra money, you can eat. Not me, but you can if you want to. And they start the middle of October and they finish up the end of November to carve every single bit of that. I think we have like 90,000 tons of ice that they carve. How do we keep it frozen? Yeah. We have it inside an insulated tent that we keep at -9 degrees. But we found out that they don't, when they're carving, they don't want it at -9. They want it warmer because it's too hard to carve at -9. So it's below freezing, but not at -9. When they're finished, we lower it to -9 so it stays hard and solid. We also have a bar in there somewhere where you can buy a drink. Why you would want to do that, I don't know, but that's a renovation for the aquarium, and that's where you can find us. Okay, that's just the first section. Any questions? How much time we got left? Okay, we've got another. Where'd Ann go? There's Ann. Could you put in the other thumb drive, please?
What did Harvey do?
What did Harvey do? Harvey did nothing. Ike was the killer. Harvey, if you were watching television and watching the last feeder bands of Harvey as they were sweeping across close to Moody Gardens, the lowest two missed Galveston Island. Galveston Island was in the middle, and it missed it entirely. Just north of us and just south of us, there's nothing south of us but oil rigs and the Lost Horizon. North of us is like Dickinson, Hitchcock, Santa Fe, Texas City. That got totally wiped out. We got missed, thank goodness, and there was hardly any damage. Ike, which the next slide will show, did a lot of damage. Well, I taxed them with, I should have done that, I'm sorry. Yes.
So you have convinced me that I've got to go to Moody Gardens.
Yes, I would.
Good. So should I take out a loan for this?
Locals have two comments. Either I've already seen it once or it's too expensive. Now, on the other hand, if you have your choice of going to Moody Gardens or Disney World or Six Flags or Schlitterbahn, it's going to cost you the same amount of money. You just need to know you're going to spend that amount of money and decide which place you want to go to. Do you need to take out a bank loan to go to Schlitterbahn? You'll have to take out a bank loan to go to Moody Gardens. If you don't need to take out a bank loan to go to Six Flags, you don't need to take out a bank loan to go to Moody Gardens.
So I saw a great football game at Jerry World up in Dallas, but I didn't like the fee that they charge you for parking your car.
Yeah, well,
So you do that too? I mean, is it
no, it's free to park. And we'll bus you up to the front door free. Now it is on a little bit on the pricey side, but on the other side, I'd like to get a raise sometime. So keep that in mind. Well, none of us have gotten an increase in salary in 4 years. We make a profit, but we don't make that much profit. And if the profit we do make has to go back into Moody Gardens itself. So we're not in the market to making a profit. We're just in the market of maintaining what we have and then adding improvements with time.
and you can really sit at a bar in a very cold
Yes,
environment?
and it was vodka last year. I don't remember what it was the year before, but I don't drink, so I don't remember. I'm a teetotaler. I drink iced tea, ice water, hot coffee. Oh, we're here. Okay. These are our replacement date palms. In the 1989-90 freeze, we lost 144 date palms. These are all replacements. I have to get my thumb back where it belongs. Whoop, is that doing anything? And the little yellow white flags are for the irrigation. That's the next slide, that's good. There. Nope, but you got to the next one. That's the third one.
Where do you want to be?
This is good, but it's not advancing. You're advancing. You have to go to full screen, I know, and it's not full screen. There's almost full screen. There we go. There we go. Okay, that guy right there digging, his name is Jose Mantufas. He's our irrigator. Whoops, now it's going by itself. We're doing a slideshow. I can talk fast, but not that fast. You're better entertainment than I was.
I don't know how to do this one so that it'll stop. Yeah, find help.
I don't know if anyone's interested in this, but I think it's kind of interesting that Bobby Moody's.
Click on the file page.
And Bobby Moody bought, I think I'm telling you about, I hope, the floor place out by Cook's Nursery. You know that's been redone. Bobby Moody owns that. And he comes here to visit his mother.
Thank you.
That's kind of interesting. It is interesting.
Okay. Have you gotten that loan yet? No, okay. Dinosaur exhibit. This is from last year. We're having a dinosaur exhibit again this year. And it looks a little more progressed than that right there. It's actually open now. Got a lot of the same dinosaurs. That one's foaming at the mouth.
Are those the mechanical ones?
Yes, they are. Dinotronics. Whoop. Pushed the button too fast. Okay, what is that? Red one. That's a tropical from Hawaii Thai plant. I planted a lot of those. I know that one. Okay, that's a blue flowering plant that sticks to you. What's it called? They grow in Houston and Galveston. Plumbago. That's what you get in your back when it starts to stiffen up. Okay, and these right here, if I can point, these and these are what? Copper plants. And these are firecracker plants. And these over here, we just learned what those are. What are those? Thai plants, yes. Give that lady a cigar. Okay. And those white flowering plants are what? Okay, I'll take your word for it. Shasta daisies. And the caladiums in the background. I like caladiums. Leslie will ask me, how many caladium tubers do you want? 1,000. So she orders 1,000. We need some more. How many more do you want? 1,000. So she orders 1,000 more. The whole area you've been looking at was called the herb garden. And Mark and he decided it'd be better if it was called the butterfly garden. So we started planting butterfly plants, and everybody wanted to know where the butterflies were. We told them, we could plant the plants, but we can't make the butterflies come. Same problem in the rainforest pyramid. The butterflies all go up to the highest point in the whole pyramid, and you can't see them way up there. We can give them their food and their nectar, but we can't make them eat. Okay, we all know what that is, right? Geraniums, yes. Jackhammer. This guy right here, his name is Alfredo, and he's been with me for 32 years. Moody Gardens has been open for 31 years. Figure that one out. We worked at another nursery, and we both came about the same time. This is Palm Beach before the last freeze. Whoops, wrong button. Palm Beach before the last freeze. Same thing. I did all that. Well, I didn't do it, but it was my design. These are cabana huts. Yes, you have to take out a loan to get one of these, but they're fancier now. They have sidewalls to them, and they have fancy furniture in them. And we just built brick walkways up to them, so after you take your shower, you don't get your sandy feet inside your cabana. Whoops. Well, there was another one from a different angle. Okay. Well, man, how come it keeps going two at a time? This is our front entrance, which really isn't ours. It's the airport's. But we don't tell anybody. We just assume it's ours, and we take care of it like it's ours. Leslie does all the color outside. Now that is where the official Moody Gardens entrance is, but nobody knows that, except for us. And we don't tell anybody. Some more color, all Leslie's doing. More color Leslie's doing. Caladiums, we use, like I said, we buy 1,000 tubers at a time, different colors, different species. She'll write on them, like shade, like sun, so I'll know which one's which. Other than that, that's up in front of the hotel, more caladiums, more palm trees. They all froze in the last freeze we had. What are those? I don't know either. Yeah, it looks like a tropical begonia, angel wing or something. There's some orchids. I know orchids. These are in the rainforest. Went two at a time that time again. More orchids. Bromeliads. More bromeliads and orchids. I don't know what those are. She took like 3 pictures of that, and I don't know what that is. She likes it, whatever it is. More bromeliads, orchids. And that flower, I didn't know what it was before. More bromeliads. Oh, went too fast again. Okay, who knows what that is? That's in its vegetative stage. Sir? No? No? It gets a flower on it this big, and it smells like a dead body. Corpse flower, yes. And that's the vegetative stage. It does that first before it does the flower stage, which I found to be real interesting. That's the netting to the butterfly or the bat enclosure. That's a Reeves palm. There's a butterfly on the Reeves palm. Now, what is that? What kind of bird? What does it do to palm leaves? Weaves them. So it's a what? Weaver bird, yes. I thought it was a television show from the 50s, but shows you what I know. Okay, that's back at the beginning. Any questions? I hear somebody rattling the tickets. Everybody wants a plant to go. Any questions? Please don't think you have to take out a loan to come to Moody Gardens. If nothing else, bring a book, sit down on one of our nice benches where it's free, in the shade, and read your book. I had an uncle, sorry to say, he passed away, but he had a membership to Moody Gardens. He would come to the Rainforest Pyramid, sit down on the bench, and read a book. And to him, that was enjoyable. To each his own, do what you want. Yes, sir.
What all did Ike do to you? Hurricane
Ike did a lot. There's another slide program, but I don't think we have time for that. We had 14 feet of water in Moody Gardens. And most of our HVAC systems to all the buildings were underground. So they all flooded, all the basements. All the washing machines and dryers to the hotel all flooded. I mean, everything. And the Rainforest Pyramid had all its ductwork underground. It all flooded. So now everything's above ground in metal tubes. And we learned our lesson. We have doors that shut and have like inner tube around them that automatically pump up with air to form a solid seal. We have other doors that have bracing, like what do you call those? Churches have them.
Buttresses?
No, it's a wall flying buttress, like a flying buttress. It has those to support the wall to keep the water out. So we've gone to great expense to make sure that little accident doesn't happen again.
How long did it take y'all to reopen?
Well, the good thing about that was people were very pleased and surprised with us that we were able to turn Moody Gardens around as quick as we did. It probably took us 3 months. to completely turn it around.
When
Yes?
you have disasters like that, how does that affect the animals? I mean, if they
Well,
don't have.
what they've determined with other zoos, and including ourselves, it does more harm to the animals to try to move them than it does to leave them. Now, our animals, the mammal animals, they just went to higher ground in the rainforest. They were fine. The penguins we put in an ice truck, refrigerated ice truck trailer, and they were fine. They didn't get hurt at all. The only thing that got hurt were the fish, and they were washed out of the ponds, and the ones that we had in aquariums inside the labs, they got washed out of the aquariums in the labs. So we learned since then we don't have any of the fish down in the labs anymore. Everything is up higher in labs that are above ground, at least 14 feet above ground. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Mentioned those waterproof doors. It was interesting to me with this Harvey thing, downtown flooded, that the doors work. They, after Alicia or whatever it was, they passed the city ordinance, and you remember all the windows got sucked out and came crashing down and all? Well, they made major improvements, and that included the waterproof doors. And during Harvey, I got a son and daughter that work downtown, and they didn't miss a day.
Yeah.
The tunnels did not flood. Two of the three hospitals, their doors worked. One hospital, the door had a problem and it flooded.
Well, we were lucky it missed us completely, and we're very sorry for those folks that it didn't. But any hurricane's bad news for somebody.
With 51 inches of rain, it's kind of hard to do anything about.
Yeah.
Thought it was a lot of money.
It amazes me that you must have a fantastic sewer system, because it's gonna flood again, and that's gotta be a tough thing for.
Well, the sewer system, the water treatment plant for we have two. One of the water treatment plants from Galveston is between Moody Gardens and where I used to live. Does that tell you anything? It was bad. It was so bad when I walked into my house, I could not breathe. Literally and physically, I could not breathe. I opened up every door and every window, and I did not go into my house, back into my house for 3 weeks. That's how bad it was.
No one ever talks about that.
It was bad.
Flooding. That is, if you live there, yeah, you know about it.
Oh. Where I live now is right across the street from Moody Gardens, but at least it's downwind from the water treatment plant. Any other questions? Thank you. Y'all have been great. Appreciate it.